Quite different, and at the same time quite similar. My first book was a non-fiction book which spoke about the ascendancy of the East India Company in Western India, particularly with the annexation of Surat, which meant a lot of historical research, quantitative and qualitative, as well as an extraordinary amount of traveling. The second book, which is the fiction book, is also rooted in history, philosophy and poetry. So an extraordinary amount of research in understanding the philosophy of the Sufis, their poetry, as well as their contributions in mathematics and science. That took me traveling. The difference obviously is that in the fiction book, which is the latest release, there is an enormous amount of investment of time in building characters, creating a plot, building a storyline and a narrative that is true to history, but at the same time one that can be enjoyed by a wider audience, which is the reason why I wrote the novel. Well, history and philosophy, because I was brought up by my grandparents. My grandfather was a theologian, and he worked along with Rafiq Zakaria in the Theosophical Society of India. And as a child, I was exposed to his works, his lectures, his talks, and the philosophies of the Sufis that he spoke about with great eloquence. And as I was growing up, I was kind of put or given situations where I could quite easily get access to some of the philosophical works of the likes of Ibn Arabi, Ibn Khaldun, even Nizamuddin Aulia, and that kind of paved the way for my interest in Sufism, and particularly in the philosophy of Sufism. Well, as a writer, I think one should be the mirror of today's times, and although one writes history or historical fiction, what inspires me is to look into the past with a lens that can understand, analyze, and also pull out key moments from which we can learn. And so in these times, so it is inspiring to look into the past and then learn from the mistakes of our past, or understand what we did so brilliantly in the past and make it relevant to today's times through through either writing a book or articles or even poetry. Oh, many challenges. I'm not sure about a writer's block, but extraordinary amount of challenges, because I was actually following the tile trail, which is from Fatehpur Sikri to Delhi to Samarkand to Bursa in Turkey to Istanbul and then into southern Spain. So a vast number of challenges in terms of understanding the craftsmanship of the tile making that the Sufis propagated, and my protagonist is a tile maker. Also weaving the philosophies into the novel was quite challenging, because you've got to be able to understand the nuances of the philosophy, as well as then imbibe and imbue the characters with philosophical thought, particularly when it's written in poetic expression. The other challenge that I faced was to really knit the story from Spain to India and find a ribbon, if you wish, that could link the continents, and that link happened to be the Gira tile making, which I was fortunate enough to find through travel. On a lighter note, I was trying to find a little village in which I could kind of embed my character in southern Spain. And I was able to encounter a few characters that resembled a baker, that resembled a butcher, and seeing an Indian strolling down the streets of Zahara de la Sierra trying to try his hand at Spanish, you know, was quite an experience. We eventually managed to get around it, and I think, you know, that proved to be something quite humorous and enchanting and charming as well.